What's going on, everybody? This is Conversation with Carroll. I'm your host, Nolan Carroll, and we got another Q&A session again today. I'm loving these things. I'm loving the questions that you guys are submitting. Go to carrollsconnection.com, submit your questions there, or you can slide in my DMs and I can answer your questions from there. Don't try and hit on me. Slide in my DMs to ask me questions, and that's the only thing it'll get to. So let's get it rolling. My creativity has been falling short. How do I break out of this funk? Really leaning back on the fundamentals. You gotta, a lot of times when you're going through a process and you're deep into it, you begin to stop thinking about what got you there. And that's really what got you there. And you have to just go back and evaluate what you can do with the fundamentals that you learn to continue to advance, or how can you make them better. And a lot of times when you're trying to be creative and find new ideas and new ways, you're trying to look for something completely new, and you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You just got to make the wheel more efficient. And I kind of relate this to YOLO rum with us. When we were, I guess it was around the time the pandemic was really kind of going on, we had to learn how to pivot and amplify what we were doing already well. We were doing well online, and we were selling pretty well online. And when that's all we could do, that's when we amplified it a little bit more. And that's what allowed us to continue to grow and continue to find new avenues, because we stuck to what we knew. We never tried to, well, actually we did. We tried to do something a little bit different, but then we just realized, why try and do anything new when what we have is working and sustaining? Let's just make it more efficient. And that's what we were able to do. And that's what's allowed us to continue to be who we are. But there was a point in time where we were stuck, but we always went back to what made us who we were. What made YOLO rum who we are. We enjoy the rum. We enjoy people that enjoy the rum. We have a lot of awards that went with it, and we're good at selling it online. So with all those things, we wrapped it up as a bundle, and we just made it better. We started exploring how these awards helped us get to where we were. We explored who the person was behind the brand. We started to do some testimonials. We started to do some drink recipe stuff to get people to see it. And then, it was really just, it came down to word of mouth and what we were able to do with word of mouth and showing people and talking to people on how to grow it. So we never really just tried to do anything new with what we had. It was just making it better. And that's what got us over the hump. And we've hit many humps after that. We're just still trying to be creative, because in this space, you do have to be creative and find different ways to stick out above the rest. But the one thing we never did was just try and do something completely new where it went outside of ourselves, because we knew if we were to do that, it takes time away from, and it takes away from what reminded us why we got there. So I would just say, go back to the fundamentals that you had to establish, your foundation that got you to that point, and see how you can make it better to help you get over that funk that you say you're going through. Next question. I have a few projects I'm trying to juggle. How can I juggle them all to stay on the same plane? That's a little bit tougher. It's not tougher, it's just, why are you trying to juggle a bunch of things? I just do one thing and do it well. Just stick to one thing, focus on that, and make sure it's as airtight and as great as you can get it. Then focus on the next thing, and then focus on the next one, and then the next one. Don't try and do too much at one time. There's a quote, I think it was Denzel Washington that said this. He said, don't confuse progress with movement. And you could be doing a bunch of things, but not really getting anywhere. And a lot of times, that's what a lot of people like to do. They try and say they're doing all these things, but are they really getting anywhere? And as opposed to the other person that is doing just one thing and they're advancing slowly, they're progressing, they're going forward. They're not a hamster in a wheel, they're just going around and around and around. And that's what I think you should do. I think you should just focus on one thing, do it intently, build it up the way you need to build it up, then move to the next. And if they work together, if they coincide, or there's things that you need to pair together, if you have different companies, projects, I don't know what you have, but if they can work together, work on one still as efficiently as you can, then go to the next one and work on that as efficiently as you can, and see how they come together and see if you can build them together. Because I know it's cool, everybody wants to say and show, hey, I got all these different businesses that I have, because everybody's saying you got to have seven different sources of income. I get that, but how can you get there trying to build them all at the same time? Just do one at a time to get there. Don't really worry about trying to rush it to show everybody that you have it. Just go ahead and build it quietly, and then it will show itself. So I just say do it that way. Don't think that you have to be this person that juggles, because also it comes down to time efficiency as well. You don't want to burn yourself out. You don't want to stress yourself out because you're trying to force one thing, but you're not really putting your time all into it. And then you got another project you have to do, and you're putting some time into that. And then you have another project and you're putting some time into that. You can never really grasp what you're trying to do and really hone in on it to make it what it needs to be. So I would suggest focus on one thing first and then build from there. Seems like every time I get going, I get hit with an obstacle. How do I deal with these obstacles? Obstacles are just a test to see if you really want the thing that you say you want. And don't look at an obstacle as an hindrance. Don't look at an obstacle that's just in the way and you can't get around it. Embrace the challenge, embrace the obstacle. Know that it's a test that's going to help you grow. And just in my football career, I look at it this way. Before I got into the NFL, I had 2 leg injuries. I broke my leg 2 separate times, one in high school and one in college. And both of those times were at crucial times where it was a big obstacle. It was an obstacle that I had to overcome, but I also knew it was a test. I knew that when I was in high school and it happened, I knew that if I wanted to get to college and still play in college, I had to overcome this mentally and physically. And I had to embrace that challenge of going back to rehab, learning how to do all the little nuanced things again to get to college. And then when I got to college, getting ready to go to the NFL, same thing happened. Well, guess what? It was another obstacle, but I didn't look at it as something that was hindering me. I looked at it as a challenge. I looked at it as a challenge for me to basically prove to myself, I wasn't caring about anybody else, proving to myself that I was able to overcome it. And that's what allowed me to, I wouldn't say it was easy, but it allowed me to look at it from a different perspective. If you're always just looking at an obstacle for what it is instead of how you can manage it and how you can overcome it, you know, you'll never really grow. And I looked at it from a vantage point of, these are the things that I need to do to be triumphant in this challenge. This is the things that I need to do on a day-to-day basis. These are the things that are going to hurt me every single day, but I have to do it because I know that I'm getting tested, and every single day is a test. And when you look at it that way, in a way, it kind of gets your competitive juices going. If you know that there's a challenge, anybody that sets a challenge in front of you, you know, say, oh, I can do 50 push-ups. Well, I can do 55. I bet you I can do 60. It's just that the juices start flowing to where you think, all right, I know I can do it. I know what I possess. I know what I'm capable of. And it comes down to confidence, really, honestly. At the end of the day, when you conquer one challenge and when you conquer one obstacle that comes out of the blue, it gives you confidence to take on another one and then another one and another one. And we have this happen all the time in games. You know, we could have given up a touchdown. We could have given up 3 or 4. An offense could have converted 3 or 4 fourth downs on us on a drive, and it's a 15-play drive. You know, that's adversity right there. That's an obstacle. You know, on defense, you pride yourself on getting off the field. On third downs, you're getting turnovers. But what happens when you don't get a turnover? What happens when you're not getting off on third down? What happens when you're giving up big plays? How are you going to be able to lock in and focus and know how to overcome that obstacle to get yourself back on track, to start making plays, to get off on third down, you know, start getting turnovers? What things can you do? And it just comes down to just understanding and embracing the challenges at all times. Just don't run away from it. A lot of people, when they're hit with a challenge, they like to play victim because they're already setting up in their minds that they're going to fail instead of going to succeed. You have to set the tempo with anything that comes in front of you, because when you do that, it gives you a better advantage to, 1, be successful, and 2, build your confidence, like I said, to be able to continue to advance. So don't look at it as something that is this big imposing monster or this big imposing mountain that's in front of you. Like I said, just look at it as a challenge. You will embrace that challenge and you just go from there. And I guarantee you, great things will come from it. But that is it, I think. 3 questions again, bada bing, bada boom. We're doing this well. I like this. This is fun. Giving advice, talking, and it makes me recollect just different football experiences, different business experiences, and I'm enjoying this. So once again, like I said, submit your questions to Carroll's Connection or you can DM me and I'll answer your questions here on this podcast. Once again, my name is Nolan Carroll. This is Conversation with Carroll. I'm out.